Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of Mocktail Minutes. This is Bailey.
And this is Brianna.
This week, I am drinking Revive. I don't know if I've done one of these yet or not, but I got the tangerine peach flavor. It's a probiotic seltzer.
I don't think you've done that one before, but mine today is just, I feel like I've had so many different drinks today because we're recording like much later than usual. So I just have water with some trace mineral drops, like some fresh lemon, and then I had leftover mint. So I added that and I'm feeling real fancy.
Oh, wow.
But it's good. I'm like, why don't I do this more? Like fresh mint or something. I don't know. But I like it.
I love adding mint to different drinks. And I've done that at bars before where instead of ordering a mojito, I will basically order a mojito without the alcohol or simple syrup. So I'm basically drinking carbonated water with mint and lime.
Yeah.
And it's actually really good. And I was like, why haven't I ever thought about this before?
Yeah, that's a good idea. You just made me think, like, I have regular carbonated water. I'm probably going to go add some mint to it after this.
Yeah, there you go. Or like mint and cucumber is really good.
Actually, my favorite cocktail that I get like at a local restaurant, because I don't usually have cocktails, I only get it because it has cucumber, mint, and lime. But I will get that cocktail just because it has that.
I do the same thing. Anything with mint, or if you have an espresso martini, that'll really get me. Like, that's a hard yes. If I see an espresso martini on the menu, I'm definitely going to get it. And every time I see it, Josh is like, oh, here we go. I'm like,
there we go, Bailey with her martini.
Yep. Otherwise, I do love a good mojito.
Yeah.
Have you ordered the volley seltzers yet?
I haven't, and I've been meaning to because we have, what is it, a select wine or what?
Oh, yeah. Is it Total Wine?
Total Wine, thank you.
Okay.
We have one near us, and it's actually right by our Costco that I've been going to like every weekend. So I'm going to do it the next time I go.
Well, you can order them online, and you get that you get a discount with my code too.
Oh, yeah. Well, then I'll just do that.
Yeah.
I like anything you can order, to be honest.
Yes. I know. There's so many products that I use, and people ask me, I'm like, well, I ordered it online. I mean, it is super hard to find like quality protein powders all the time in the stores or like protein bars, which is super frustrating. But yeah. Oh, we thought about doing some little life updates. Short and sweet because that's why we're here for Mocktail Minutes. So short and sweet will, I don't know, a win. I guess we can call it a great thing that happened. I am building a house now.
Applause.
Yes. It's like a good feeling, but it's also like we just have to pick out so many things and it won't be ready till next summer. So
it's okay.
That's fine. We have time to settle in, time to sell some stuff that we don't want to move, so we have less things to move.
Yeah.
And then, we start picking everything out probably next week. I did not realize, I realized that all these pieces go into a house, but it's not something you think about when you're building a house. Like, you think about floors, walls, not doorknobs. Like, I have to decide what doorknob I want.
Oh, you're going it's like an all-in. Like
It's
you're
literally
doing everything.
Yes, like right now we have dirt. That is it.
That's your little plot of dirt. That's exciting. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's kind of
and then you'll have to come to Missouri for my housewarming party and enjoy my Missouri weather in the summer.
That's okay. I'm sure it's not that much different than Texas, so I'm sure I'll feel right at home.
It could be 60 degrees or it could be 110 and very humid. So
it could be raining. You know, it's always a fun thing that we deal with in the summer too.
How's your week been?
My week has been good. I do not have anything definitely nearly as exciting as that, but it's been going good. I feel like we've caught our back to school groove.
Yes.
We're in it. We're starting all the sports. So that's been interesting, but overall it's been going smooth.
Are all three boys in sports?
Yes, but I got, and I always try to be that parent that's like, I'm going to let them all do different things that they love. I put a cap on it, Luckily, my older boys like to do the same thing. So like right now they're doing BMX and it's a little different than regular sports because they don't have like a ton of practices or stuff they have to go to. So it's like you choose when you go. And then my youngest is in T-ball, which is just a wreck. It's a wreck. Like God bless the coaches because I don't know how they do it, but that's fun. So it's like short and sweet. Like you show up to the game, both teams bat, and then you're done. So
well, that's nice because I know some of my younger cousins that I've watched, T-ball games can get very long.
Probably like next year, it's going to be a full on like hour and a half game. And it's like, why? So they're 5, 6, 7, whatever.
I feel
But
like that's like a pain point of moms with kids,
yeah,
T-ball teams.
yeah, and like, I totally underestimated how much I would be driving around and sitting at practices and committing weekends to games. Like, it's upsetting.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fine.
They love it. I'll do it. But I will say some of the games are at 8 in the morning and they have to be there beforehand. And I'm like, why? 8? That's so rude on a Saturday. But yeah, it'll be good. I'll survive.
Good. Yes. So yeah, those are little life updates. Let us know if you like hearing life updates or if you're just like respectfully no thanks. I just want to get to the point. We're not going to spend like the first 20 minutes talking about life and doing all these ads and everything. That's not what we're doing. We just want to connect with you guys a little bit more. And I think that's been a really fun part of the podcast, just getting to know some of you who have sent us DMs and you kind of get to know us and our families because
Yeah.
they can be pretty entertaining sometimes.
Yeah. I always like hearing other podcasters like, oh, what's going on in their life. But yeah, if you're like, you know what, I'm just clicking the 30-second forward button every time, just let us know. We'll
Yeah.
save time. We won't do it.
It won't hurt our feelings. I promise. We got decently tough skin and we're genuinely asking your opinion here.
Yes, exactly.
So let's jump into today's topic. We're talking about desk jobs, which we both have those. And we were kind of talking before we started recording that we're like, oh, we're kind of giving ourselves a little bit of motivation. Personally, I feel like I've been in a little bit of a rut. I used to be a lot better about moving more throughout the day and getting all my morning walks in and after work walks. But I mean, this past week and I guess past 2 weeks have been a little bit crazy and they're happening just not as much as I was doing.
Yeah, I will say, like, when we were prepping for this, I was like, wow, these are all amazing tips. I need to do more of them more consistently because
Yes.
there's a couple of these that I'm like, ooh, I do this. And I know I shouldn't be, but that isn't that like what we do as humans? Like, we know what we should be doing. We don't always do it. So hopefully this will kind of give us the motivation and you to like just do the things.
Yeah, it's very common to hear, like, we know what to do, we're just not doing it. And I think it's more common for this with the simple pieces, like just moving more throughout the day because we're like, it's too simple. So let's jump into some of the tips. And we have a lot that we kind of thought about. But I mean, something that's really interesting is that I found nearly 80% Americans now have a sedentary job. So, I mean, it's probably a big contributor, I would say, to a lot of chronic diseases that are now prevalent. I mean, there's several factors that add to that, but I mean, we don't have as many people working on a farm. We don't have as many jobs where we're up like doing all the things. We
Yeah.
have a lot of sitting at a desk all day long.
Yeah. And I think like even more so after the pandemic, because then that kind of like showed the world like, oh, hey, I don't have to go into work. Like I can do my job from home. So many more people are now just working from home or working a desk job. And this is where you got to kind of be mindful of that sedentary time because like you said, our daily lives aren't what they used to be. We're not moving. So because of that, we need to make up for that really because too much sedentary time is not good for you. Like whether your goal is weight loss or not, it's just not good for your health, period. Your body likes to move.
And we talked about this in the episode on NEAT versus EAT movement. So go back and listen to that to talk more about that NEAT piece of things. But like we had mentioned, for my steps, I have to be really aware of how to get those in. Otherwise, it's very easy for me to get to like 2,000 steps, but that's just not sufficient. It's not sufficient to make me feel good. It's not sufficient for like decreasing disease risk, anything like that. So we'll just kind of go through some tips we have thought about. Number one, I would say staying hydrated is important. That's another thing that's like, I know I should drink water, but I don't.
Yeah.
So staying hydrated with actual water. I mean, a lot of times I've had some clients that are drinking 3-4 cups of coffee a day. I mean, that can be dehydrating you due to the caffeine in it. So start by swapping out that 3rd, 4th cup of coffee with water. I know caffeine is something that we feel like we kind of need throughout the day, but if you are in need of a stimulant all day long to kind of keep you from falling asleep at your desk, it's not because you need more caffeine. It's because something else is going not great that is causing us not to have a lot of energy.
Yeah. And like most of the time, it's food. Like we're just not eating enough. But when you're like, I mean, it's an age old dieting trick, right? Like, oh, if you're hungry, you drink coffee. It really does suppress your appetite. So if
Yeah.
you're someone who like you're habitually rushed in the morning, you skip breakfast, you come to work, you're drinking coffee, finally, like your hormones do their job. Maybe you're running off cortisol, maybe like, glucagon did its thing and you just don't feel hungry but you're still tired. And so you're like, oh, I'm running to the break room. I'm going to get another cup of coffee. Sooner or later, you realize maybe it's 11:30, 12 o'clock and you still haven't eaten today and you're feeling like crap and you're tired. It's because you're just living off coffee. You're not going to be productive. You're not going to really like have that brain power or that mental stability that you need to be working. You're just
Yeah.
not.
You will feel so much better once you are adequately hydrating. And with hydration comes minerals, which I think we're going to talk about in another episode. But right now, I mean, if you're not getting enough water, that's where we have to start
Yeah.
anyway. So, getting your water in, check in with your coffee intake or your energy drink intake because you should not have to live off that steady need for caffeine
Yeah.
all the time. But also, thinking about coffee, like, how do you like your coffee if you like it with more creamer than coffee? I mean, that can be adding a lot of sugars into it, those added sugars. So that's why you might not feel great either. That could be why you're more tired because you're having a blood sugar crash. And then even like the coffee creamers, getting more quality ones, especially if it's something we're using daily.
Yeah. If it's something you're going to use every day and maybe even multiple times a day, like invest in a good quality one, really, because you don't want to be on that blood sugar roller coaster all day, especially if you're just sitting. So, there's a time and place for sugar. Like, sugar isn't bad. We need sugar. But if you're doing a lot of like just sitting and you're not moving, you don't really need to have a ton of added sugar. It's just going to set you up for those blood sugar spikes and then falls, and you're just going to kind of be all over the place.
Yeah. With that being said, I would kind of take a look at our breakfast. What
Mm-hmm.
does your breakfast look like? Does it exist? Number one, or
Yeah.
is it coffee? That's a good place to start. Make sure it exists. But also, the second piece, I would say, does it have at least some protein in it? I mean, if you're running out the door with a granola bar or a Pop Tart or
A banana.
banana, scarfing down a bowl of cereal, anything that's just mainly carbohydrates. Again, carbohydrates aren't bad, but that's going to affect your blood sugar, which is going to affect your mood, which is going to it's
Affect
also
your
going to affect
energy.
your
Yeah.
energy, your cravings, your hunger and fullness all throughout the day. So, what does that breakfast look like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you hitting, like, really getting a high protein breakfast just sets you up. It sets you up for the day. So, not saying like, oh, cereal is the worst thing or a granola bar or banana, but pair something with it and grab like a nut butter packet and maybe some hard boiled eggs and some collagen for that coffee that I know you're going to have. Like,
Yeah,
just a couple seconds more, a couple seconds. It
it
doesn't need
really
to be like an elaborate breakfast.
exactly what I was just about to say. Yeah, it doesn't need to be this whole production of breakfast. I mainly adjust my breakfast based on how much time I have in the morning.
Yeah.
If I have to be at work earlier than usual, I'm not going to sit there and make eggs. Like, no, it takes more time to cook. It takes more time to sit and actually eat it. If I need something quick, it's going to be a smoothie. It's going to be something that even I'll drink it on my way to work in the car.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not ideal to kind of do that. Ideally, yes, we want to sit, chew our food well, digest it, but life happens and sometimes we just have to do a smoothie on the run. And I mean, I guess we're sitting while we're driving. So
Right. That's sedentary time,
yeah, yeah, exactly. So it has to be at least a little helpful. It's going to be better than not getting in a breakfast at all or just saying screw it because I don't have 30 minutes to do it. Like Brianna said, doing a banana, peanut butter, hard boiled egg, literally so easy. Sometimes it looks like a protein bar for me. Sometimes it's a beef stick and eggs. It doesn't have to be breakfast foods either. Use your leftovers.
That's true. I I can tell you how much like that really does make a difference for some people. Like you have permission to have non-breakfast foods for breakfast. Like
Hmm.
if you need to have last night's leftovers, do it. If you're one of those people that like don't care about eating non-breakfast foods in the morning, that could be your ticket to like setting yourself up for success.
And sometimes you just have an overabundance of leftovers, so it's perfectly fine if you want to do it at breakfast and lunch. by all
Yeah.
means.
Yeah, exactly. Make it do with what you have. I guess like we have a couple more on, like we have quite a bit on here, but we could like kind of split it into like, I guess I should do a disclaimer. Like, we know not everybody works from home, because some of these tips, people are going to hear them and think, well, that only works if you work from home. I would challenge that, because I feel like all of these you can kind of like work into even if you work in an office. But just like, we know, like, not everyone works at home. Sometimes you're
Mhm.
going into the office, but all of these that we're going to talk about, you can do in some sort of capacity. It may not be perfect, but it could be something. So I think the next one, like, should we just talk about standing as
Yeah,
opposed to
I
sitting?
think that works. But yeah, just kind of going off what you said about working from home versus working from the office, thinking about it, I think I've done all these in the office before. It's just a matter of planning, getting the resources. But then anytime on any of our episodes, taking what works for you and using things that are going to be beneficial. You don't have to apply every single one of these
Yeah.
things.
So
Yeah.
yeah, something you can do is just stand. So basically, any less time that you can spend sitting, the better. You use a lot more muscle, you use a lot more energy, your blood flow is much better. So stand. Can you stand while you check your emails? Can you stand for a couple minutes every hour? Can you stand while you're on hold? Can you have a standing desk? I mean, I know not all of us can have a standing desk, but can you just stand more? It sounds so simple.
I'm going to stand right now that we're talking about it.
Just doing right now. I was doing it earlier. I was like standing and hunched over, like, do, do, do. Like, I need to do it. Just standing, or even not sitting on a traditional chair. So, like a stability ball, because again, you
Mm-hmm.
use a lot more muscles. You need a lot more of like those accessory muscles that help you with balance. Can you use a stability ball? Now, this might be one where you're like, I don't want to use a stability ball in the office. Maybe you have cubicles by other people. Okay, then don't do it. Stand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Standing is very easy, and it doesn't like I have a standing desk, the whole thing can go up and down. It's like one of those electric ones.
Mhm.
I can actually, we'll put the link to it in the show notes, but you can also just get one that just goes right on top of your desk. If you use a laptop, you can literally get a laptop holder that rises it up a little bit, or get one that holds your whole desktop computer. Again, just finding what would be realistic for you in your office. If you have like your own office area, yoga pillows, they
Mm-hmm.
will look cute, make your office look homey. But
Yeah.
also, if you're working from a laptop, plop on a yoga pillow and sit a little differently there. I recently have actually changed my desk chair. So now it's like, I'll show it on the video for the YouTube watchers. Can you see? It's literally just like a circle
Oh
dock
yeah, like a little
chair.
rolly chair, like a doctor's chair.
Yes, that's what I use now. So I had one that was very comfortable. Like I could veg out on it. But I realized because I had that, like I was standing so much less and I wasn't even like sitting up on my own. I was just kind of vegging out on my chair all day long. So I
Getting
switched my chair and I used my standing desk more. And then it gave me more room because I also have a walking pad. We'll put that in the show notes as well. So a walking pad, it's a lot easier to get to now. So whenever forming a new habit, make it something that's a no-brainer. It's easier to do. It's right in front of your face. There's less barriers to get it done. I mainly use it like in the mornings if I'm checking emails. I'm kind of just on the downtime period, that type of thing.
I love walking pads. And if you're someone who, like, maybe you work at home, or maybe you take work home with you and you're like, I don't have a walking pad, but I have a treadmill, I have a great desk thing that we can also link that you put on your
Mm-hmm.
treadmill to use your laptop on that. You don't have to walk super fast. And if you're someone who's like, there's no way I could do that, believe me, I'm one of those people. I will fall face first on a treadmill. Okay, 100%. And I can do this. Okay, so you put it on low, and something is better than nothing. You may not be in zone 2, you may not be breaking any records, but you're moving your body. And honestly, you're so much more productive. So if you can get away with a walking pad, do it. Or if you're someone that, like, maybe you do a lot of work meetings, be take it outside. If you can, like, walk around, obviously, maybe if you're not talking, if you just got to be there, it's like all hands, I don't know, whatever fancy terms we're calling meetings these days. Maybe do it while walking, like, or just standing. Again, simple standing. But honestly, getting some extra steps in at work, really useful, especially if you're there 8 hours a day. Like, that's a
Mm-hmm.
huge chunk of your day.
Other ideas with meetings, if you kind of have control of how meetings go, if you're one of the higher ups and you have that ability, take like a 15-minute standing meeting. So that can be a great way because, I mean, sitting down, people get comfortable. We just kind of keep talking. Standing, I mean, maybe you get to the point where, like, I'm tired of standing, let's keep going. So you can do a standing meeting, or also like a walk and talk meeting if you're kind of doing just one-on-one, trying to brainstorm ideas.
Yeah.
Go walk around the building, go outside and walk. And it also helps conversation flow a little bit better when you're walking and talking. So it can release that creative side of your brain.
Yeah, you're just more productive and creative. Along with walking, let's talk about like walking on breaks. So usually when you work on an office job, you have a lunch break and you have like two 15-minute breaks. Okay. This is a time where a lot of people will work through their breaks. And, that's a conversation about like work-life balance, because you should absolutely be taking some breaks. I know that it feels like you have so much work to do, work's not going to get done, but the building will not burn down if you take a 5-minute break and you go outside and you take a lap around the building. It will not. Same with your lunch. Like, you should not be working through your lunch and not eating or not, getting up and moving. You will be so much more productive if you take that walk, and you probably maybe even might get done with work more quickly than if you were to, keep trudging through that break. So even if you have like maybe a big building, like, can you take a lap around your building? Like, take walks at work, get up, stretch those legs, move.
And some of these things that we're talking about, we talked about in the Neat versus Eat episode, but I think it helps to reiterate these simple pieces that we overlook. So yeah, using that break, get your lunch in. Like, don't skip lunch to go on a walk, but like, get your lunch in, then go on a walk, or take breaks every hour, kind of how we talked about in the previous episode. So you kind of brought up kind of like the work-life boundaries, the relationship that we have with work. Yes. Number one, I think around that, your relationship with your peers can affect how your work type of mindset is. So we'll get to mindset in a second at work, but having good relationships with your people is going to be helpful just for your mental health, number one.
Yeah.
But also setting those boundaries with, all right, I'm at work, this is my work time. I'm at home, this is my home time, especially that work from home atmosphere. If you're someone working from home, it is so hard to be able to set those boundaries because, I mean, your home is where your work is.
Yeah. I mean, we have like some good tips for this. And this is something like I had to get kind of ruthless with, because it's so easy to keep checking your emails or checking your laptop or checking your Slack or whatever it is, that everything kind of like melds together. So use the do not disturb if you have an iPhone, which most people do. And I think even Android has a similar feature, but use the do not disturb feature and set different settings. So you can do certain settings where you're not going to get certain notifications after a certain time for certain apps. This is like crucial. Do it. And sometimes even on the split side, if you're trying to be more productive at work, like set notifications to not come from like social media and that sort of thing while you're working, because we don't do well moving from task to task to task, like just, rapid fire, even if you think you do.
And then I don't know about you guys, but sometimes where like my mind feels mushy, then I'm like, okay, let me just grab my phone and hop on TikTok. And then I look at the clock and it's been like 25 minutes. I'm like,
yeah, a little like dopamine.
Yeah, I'm like, it probably would have been better just to get a walk around the building, and then I could have finished all my stuff, and then I would have been done. But instead, I just spent 20 minutes on TikTok.
Yeah, I dragged it out. It's so true. So just like really focusing, like, okay, I'm here to work. I'm going to work. Okay, I'm here to be home and be present with my family. Okay, I'm at home, but I'm technically working from home. So let's
your work time.
Yeah, let's have these boundaries. Our brains just work so much better that way. Even though we want to think we can do all the multitasking, we're not very good at it.
I used to think that was a like strong suit quality. Like, you list your qualities for jobs and whatever, or like things you're proud of for yourself. Like, multitasker, I can do all the things at one time. Like, that is such a stupid answer. Like,
yeah. Every job that I've ever applied for, that's been my strength. Multitasking.
Like, I think prioritizer over multitasking.
Yeah.
Or like task oriented. I don't know. But that's besides the point right now. So the mindset at work.
Oh, yes.
If you are someone who you're like, I hate my job. It's very toxic. It's something I dread going to every day. I would really encourage you to kind of sit with that feeling and decide, like, is there a true reason why it's toxic? Is there, like, why do we have these type of feelings? Is it something that can be fixed? Is this something about like stories we're telling ourselves in the head, and then when we actually sit and think about it, then we're like, oh, okay, logically it's really not that bad, and I actually really enjoy my job. It's just this one little thing happened that I can't let go of.
Yeah.
So I think the mindset at work is a very huge thing, because if you are constantly going into a situation knowing my day is going to suck,
Yeah.
yeah, your day's gonna suck. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you.
It is.
It's kind of funny because Megan with Metabolism Makeover, like, she has talked about before how she's had people quit jobs due to going through Metabolism Makeover. And I always thought it was interesting, but now, I mean, I'm a year into being a dietitian, and I'm actually starting to see that trend too. I had someone just the other day, she's like, I'm looking for a new job. I mean, I realized the job that I have, the job I even went to school for, I don't like it. I actually hate it. And she found something that she really loves, because with the changes we made, she now feels so much better. She has more brain focus. She has more energy. And she's like, I want to feel this in all areas of my life. You know, it's not just enough to feel it in my body. I want to feel it when I go to work.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point. Like, you should love what you do. You do it a lot. You do it for a large portion of your day, a large portion of your year, a large portion of your life. And, not everybody has the luxury to be like, I'm going to find my dream job. And I get
Yeah.
it. But if that's you, let's work with what we have and let's figure out, like, how can I make my job more enjoyable? Is it that you need to have boundaries? Is it that you need to tell a coworker that you don't really enjoy hearing all her garbage? Is it that you need to force yourself to step away and take those walks and brain breaks because no one's telling you can't? It's just you. Like, what is it? Because we spend way too much time at work to hate it.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to bleed over into everything.
Form those work besties, I think, as well. That kind of goes back to the relation part of things. But this is something I was thinking about last night, was we spend at least 8 hours a day, if we're working full time, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week with these people.
Yeah.
I mean, we go home and maybe we only see like kids or our significant others for, I don't know, like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to just like take care of the house. You're trying to keep kids alive. You're trying to cook dinner. You're trying to go to bed on time. You're trying to take a shower. Your workouts, like all these other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, during the week, we spend more of our time with our work people than our home people, which it was kind of sad to think about it. But at the same time, I'm like, that's a kind of an empowering feeling to be like, you know what? I really do need to get that mindset right around work, because they spend so much time there.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to do a little like circle back to the movement thing before we go to our other tips.
Yeah.
Something, my husband does this. He's like the fitness, mobility, whatever guru guy. I need to say what he is because he listens to the podcast every week and he's like, why don't you say what I do? Okay. So he's a strength and conditioning coach. He just started going to grad school to become a PT. Like,
Oh,
this
wow.
is his jam. Okay. This is his jam. So there you go, Vic. There's your shout out.
Is this guy done with school and now he's like, now let me go to school too?
I know. I'm like, why are we doing this? This is not good. Like, bad idea. We're taking it day by day.
Well, good luck, Vic. You get a shout out to me too.
Right? So something he likes to do, it's not something he coined, but it's something he's like done a lot of looking into, is these things called like movement snacks. And basically just like, I think there's like an actual term by other people that coined it. But anyways, movement snacks is what he calls them. Get up, like set a timer, use your Alexa, use your phone, whatever it is, every hour you get up and you just do like some quick movement. Like, he works from home, so he can get up and do like a couple of air squats. He does some push-ups, and then he does like banded pullbacks. So I get it. If you're in an office, like, you might not want to be doing push-ups, but if you can do squats, great, because it's your leg muscles. You're getting that blood flow. Like, you're doing movement. You're doing more movement than you would if you were sitting. And then the banded pullbacks are great, especially if you work at a computer and you're just like hunched over. Like, I mean, sometimes he'll like throw it at me and be like, do some banded pulls because you're like looking like a gargoyle over there. But, just like doing a couple of those, getting your muscles like used to being in the upright position because we are so hunched every day. But that's something that he likes to do when he's like trying to incorporate more movement. Like I think it takes him like 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Max.
And calf raises. Those are some that you can do without looking like a complete weirdo. I mean, some people walk by my office and they're like, what's going on in there? Don't mind me. I'm
It's
just
a dietitian. Just don't mind her.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes like we get in our own way. Like you would be surprised how many of your coworkers kind of want to do these things too, but they don't because they're like, I want to be the only one. So like, just do it.
Just do it. And then maybe everyone in the office will have like a squat time
Yeah.
and it could be
Group
team building. Yes. Cause yeah, like I'm the only one who has a walking pad in my office, but like, so I'm in a chiropractor's office and they will walk by their patients by me and be like, see, go look at her walking pad. So I'm influencing people here to get a walking pad.
Y'all,
Like,
here's your link.
yes, I'm like on display. And
Yeah.
sorry, I stink a little bit. I wasn't planning on seeing anyone.
Oh, sorry. Don't mind me. Just
Yeah.
Yeah. But seriously, like you'd be surprised. Just try it. But yeah, like now kind of moving on from the movement, let's talk about like being mindful in the break room.
Yes, that is a huge one. I actually noticed this more with nurses. There's a lot of treats in the nurses' break room. And I mean, a lot of times it's cookies, it's cupcakes, it's more the sweeter items. Most people aren't celebrating with a rotisserie chicken. So let's be honest there.
A veggie tray.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we would bring as dietitians because we want to make sure everyone is pooping right. But
yeah, there's some fiber in there.
Or maybe it's like donuts in the morning. So I think instead of just mindlessly going back and forth eating all day long in the break room, this is where having those set meal times is going to be important and just planning for it. So, like breakfast, if you're coming in, there's donuts in there, or you just never know when donuts are going to be there. If you're having your breakfast every morning, you're going to start off with more blood sugar balancing meal. And then when you get there, you can decide, do I want a donut? Do I actually want it? Instead of just leading by, I am so hungry because I haven't ate yet. I had my coffee. I'm on a sugar rush from the creamer. And now I'm going to add a donut because I'm starving. And then you have like maybe 2 or 3 donuts.
Yeah, because you're hungry.
Yeah. I mean, or you just continue to have cravings all day long. Whereas if you had that breakfast before, you got the protein in, you got some fat in, you got some fiber in, you can come in, you're like, no, I really just want a donut. Maybe you eat the whole thing. Maybe you just want half of it and then you just stop.
Yeah. Or maybe you save it for later to have like with your snack. Or maybe you just don't want it. Like that's something that clients are like, that could never happen to me. It could. And I'm not saying like
I've seen it happen.
Yeah. Maybe you don't want it. And that's totally fine. I like that you said eat consistent meals. This is so important at work. Like we talked about breakfast, but when it comes to lunch, having a plan for lunch, maybe knowing like a good place to go around you that has like something that you can order that you feel good about, that you're not just rushing, trying to get and stuff your face with, like, bring in some meal prep, order from somewhere that you know is going to give you something that you need. But having like an actual meal time and not eating at your desk.
Yes, that one is huge and something that I've kind of started to get back in the habit too.
Me too. Yeah.
So this is one of those tips that I'm like, okay, I need to work better on it. But yeah, taking your actual lunch break, go somewhere else to do it if you have that ability, because it's going to help break up that meal time versus work time. If it's not like a full 30 minutes that you have, okay, at least go step away for 15. Do something to kind of break up that time period. Get yourself in a relaxed state, chew your food well, and you're going to feel so much better after that lunch period. Even keeping like your lunchbox in a break room instead of right at your desk can make it a little easier so you're not just seeing lunch in front of you all day. If it's something where you're like getting to work and you're eating all of your lunch by 10 a.m. and then you have no lunch.
Yeah.
But then also you have to think, okay, but is it I don't have lunch because I didn't eat breakfast? So there's a lot of factors that go into that as well.
And you brought up a good point about like leaving it at your desk, because sometimes when we get bored or we need a dopamine hit, because let's be honest, not all of us work at jobs that we enjoy, and we're going to be looking for like, what's something that can make me happy? Food is one of those things. And so you might just be mindlessly snacking and eating. So yeah, keeping your lunch box away from you, but also like checking to see what's in your snack drawer. Like snack drawers are so
Mhm.
popular. I'm not against them. I love snacks. I think you should always have snacks, but is your snack serving a purpose? Do you have your snack like drawer full of like junk food that like you like to like nibble on and it brings you like happiness, and it's not actually bringing you any nutrients, so it's not making you full or doing what a snack's supposed to do? Like, or is it like good wholesome snacks really? And not to say that you can't have candy, whatever, but if your snack drawer is just full of candy and all this other stuff that you're just snacking on all day and actually not getting full from, that's not really doing its job.
And I think that's where snacking kind of gets that bad reputation because it's thought of as the candy, the chips, the cookies. Yeah, I mean, like in my snack drawer in my office, I have dried fruit and protein bars, and I have electrolyte drinks.
Yeah.
That's all that I kind of need. Oh, and some nuts. Those are the main snacks I have because they're going to actually keep me full. They're going to actually do their job. They're going to add nutrients to it. It's not just mindlessly eating M&Ms all day. Personally, my thought about like candy jars or candy bowls on the desk, honestly, if you're in the process of implementing these new habits and getting started, I would get rid of it. It's going to be a lot easier to break that habit when it's not sitting right in front of you all day. But I mean, I have full confidence that you would get to the point where, okay, if you want to have it available for to share with other people, it's like the connection piece of things. When you feel comfortable, then start to add it back in. And you're going to start to notice where you can have candy sitting on your desk all day and you're like, yeah, but I don't really want it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be all day.
Yeah, because sometimes it's just a habit. And I
Yeah.
will say, like, we do habits. Like, I mean, if you've ever tried to detox from your phone, you will know that you go to just randomly grab your phone. You're like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I don't need to grab my phone. You will do that to the candy jar. You just will. And I never really, like, my husband is notorious for this because I used to think, like, no, there's no way. Like, some people just mindlessly do it. They don't even know that you're doing it. My husband's one of those people. Like, if you put a bag of candy on top of the refrigerator, and if I had a camera, like I could just set it up and see how many times he passes it and grabs candy. And I swear to God, he doesn't even notice.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like something he's doing. It's like I pass the fridge, I grab the candy, like I go about my day. And it's like it just grabbing the candy. And he's one of those people where he's like, I'm not even noticing I'm eating it. Like it's not even enjoyable for me because I don't remember that I'm doing it. So
Yeah.
maybe it's a habit.
And it's, yeah, like it's one of those things we don't realize even how much we are doing it. We're like, yeah, we have candy and I eat it sometimes, but then we really think about it and we're like, no, I've had 4 mini Hershey bars today.
Yeah.
Then I'm doing that 5 days a week. That could be something, I mean, it adds up. It adds up in the added sugars. It affects your cravings. It affects your sleep. It affects your energy crashes.
Especially if you're sitting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you're not going out and running after that. You know, not saying that you need to go out and run, but you're not doing anything to use up that energy. You're just sitting there at your computer chugging away. And so you have all these like bursts of like, yes, this, the food in there that wants to be used right away, and it doesn't have anywhere to go.
Exactly.
It does, because your body knows what to do with it, but it's not serving you the way you want it to. So
it's not actually going to be a filling thing.
Right.
Main point there. A few other things with food. Thinking about your lunch, making a plan for it. We talked about lunch in a previous episode, so go back to hear more tips around that. But just having a plan for it, meal prep if you need to, if it makes it a little easier. Usually I just meal prep protein because that's the hardest to kind of have ready to go. Hard-boiled eggs, crock-pot chicken, easy peasy. Like I said, we offer more tips in the lunch episode, so check that out. But planning for lunch also if you're working from home, because if you're constantly like, oh, I'll just figure it out when it's time for me to eat.
You won't.
It's not going to work. I mean, it might work some days, but
your week will go so much smoother if you have some sort of plan. Like, let me just tell you, because it doesn't. You don't.
And then it takes like time to actually prepare the food. So then you're having to take a longer lunch break. You're already trying to do all these things. So just make it easier on yourself. Plan what you're going to do.
Yeah. Plan it out. You'll be happy that you did. Most of the moms listening, I know you're packing like lunches for kids. you put a little lunch pail right by theirs. You can even
Mm-hmm.
be one of their old ones and throw in like some stuff to make like a snack plate. Okay. You don't even need to make it, like cook it. Like just as you're throwing their stuff in, toss yourself some food.
Yeah, give yourself your own lunch break at your house.
Just do it. Yeah. And you'll be so happy. I'm telling you, the weeks that I have lunch figured out and like planned out ahead of time, so much smoother. I'm so much happier. I'm so much less overwhelmed because that's another thing. It's overwhelming to constantly being like, what am I going to feed myself? And it's not a good option to not, because then
Mm-hmm.
dinner rolls around and you're hangry. And it's just the little things, you guys, the little things.
Yeah. Last tip, I think, would be around strength training. So, if you're someone who's working to implement strength training right now, decide when a good time is for you to work in your schedule. Is it before work? Is it realistic? If you have kids, are you going to realistically be able to get up before they do if you have to do that for your workout? Or is it easier for you to do it right after work? Or can you fit it in on your lunch break? There's no rule here. I mean, there's some people that say working out in the morning is better. It's honestly not a huge difference. Whenever you can work out consistently, get
Mhm.
that in during the week, do that.
I would say working out at night is better than not working out at all.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I've even had some clients that are like, I'm going to bring a little set of dumbbells to my office or
Mhm.
bands or something like that. And, this is where that all or nothing like mindset, you need to throw it out the window because maybe you only have 10 or 15 minutes to do something, but that 10 or 15 minutes adds up.
Yes.
That's fine.
Do
Doesn't
a
have to be
little, do a little something.
a little
And
something.
I mean, for me, it works better to work out right after work. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to come home, I'm going to change my clothes, and I'm going to go to the gym. So that's just when I'm most motivated because as soon as I like take my shoes off, I kind of relax a little bit. The last thing I want to do is get back up and go down to the gym. Like,
I
just
won't do it.
here. Yeah. I have to do it right after work. That's when it's going to happen. So even if that's what you're trying to do and it's not working out, maybe take it a step further. Change your clothes before you even leave the office so that you literally go straight to the gym right
Mhm.
after.
Or if you're someone who has like a gym at your office, I have a lot of clients that have this, like
I
their
actually
work will pay for like, I know their work will pay for like a gym membership or it's across the street or it's in their actual office. Like take advantage of that. And you don't need to be going like super hard and just come back like sweaty or need to add in a shower or anything. Like just, just, bend a little bit, bend a little
bend a
bit,
little bit.
bend a little bit. Like it'll work
Scoot
out.
over some RDLs.
Yeah. Like you guys got it. But hopefully these tips were helpful for you. Again, I don't think you should be taking notes and writing down every single one and like overwhelm yourself with trying to do them all. But some of them are really small. Hopefully they could be helpful. Try implementing them and see how you feel.
Mm-hmm. Pick one thing to just do tomorrow. See
Mm-hmm.
how it goes. Try it out a few more times before you're like, no, that's stupid. But
Yeah.
work on that one habit. But I would say, really, the main idea with desk job and kind of things to address when thinking about those goals is are you mindlessly snacking all day? Are you sitting all day? What can we do to fix those two things?
Yeah.
And you'll be golden.
Yeah. Yeah. The objective is to be less sedentary and set yourself up for
Yep.
success.
Yeah. Definitely go back to the NEAT movement episode. You'll get a lot more tips there and some little bit of reiteration of things because that's always helpful for the brain. Check out the lunch. I think we called it lunch and learn episode. Give you
Mm-hmm.
some lunch tips there. If you have anything that's worked really well for you in your work environment, desk lifestyle, send us a message. Tell us what works for you. Share it on your story. Tag us
Yeah.
because I think everyone is just looking for a little bit of help.
Yeah. And everyone likes to know that they're not alone. Like, you're
Mm-hmm.
not the only one dealing with this, feeling stressed out, feeling like I'm doomed because I have a desk job. Like, everybody feels that way. And it's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone have a great rest of your week. Next week, we are talking about. I don't know. What are we talking about next week?
Next week.
Oh, we have a guest.
Yes. I almost said the name. I'm not going to do that. But we have a guest.
We have a guest.
And
And
we're talking about.
shift
Well,
workers.
okay. Yeah.
We'll
We
see.
can talk. We can say what we're talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll say that. So if you are someone who's listening to this and is like, okay, this kind of applies to me, but not really, and you're more of a shift worker, so I'm assuming it's going to be a lot of nurses, but other professions as well.
Tune
Tune
in.
in next week.
Tune in because I know that's a pain point. Like being a
Mm-hmm.
shift worker and having a schedule that's different than everybody else, you won't want to miss this one.
Yeah. And if you're like, I don't need this, what you can do, go listen to older episodes, kind of get that reiteration in your brain, or some other good podcasts. I like the InSource podcast with Ashley Monstead. Molstead.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I've
So
seen
her,
that's it.
yes, her
Yeah.
podcast is good. Or The Lazy Genius is one that I've recently found, and I like that one. If you're a Vanderpump Rules person, any of their podcasts, Lala's is my favorite.
What have I been listening to lately? I really like the Food Code. That's a
Mm-hmm.
good one. You may not love it if you
Human
don't like,
Lab.
huh? Yes,
Human Lab.
Huberman. I love that one. His are just so long. Like sometimes it takes me a week.
Oh yeah, it takes
I
like
think
days
they're
to
like
go.
3 hours, but there's some really good ones on there. And he just has such a good way of like sometimes I forget what he does. I'm like, wow, you're like crazy smart. Thank you
Uh,
for writing this down.
yes, Dr. Mark Hyman. He has one. Sometimes I also will just search for the Glucose Goddess and listen to some that she has been a guest on.
Oh,
So
good idea.
just some podcast episodes if next week doesn't apply to you. But yeah, we still have the giveaway coming up once we get to 3,000 downloads. We are very close. So please
Yeah.
share with your friends and family if you like to hear us talk.
Yes, please. Because we have super fun stuff coming up.
Yep. And I just added more to the giveaway basket, so you're not going
Ooh, I want it.
to. Yes.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna apply. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
All right, everyone. Have a great week once again, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye.